Hey everybody, it's Mrs. Montague here, and in this video I'm going to give you a quick overview of how to use Google Sheets. So just like all of our other Google apps, you go to sheets.google.com to get you here to this sheet you can see here. We've got a bunch of sheets that I've got shared with me already showing up, and of course at the top you've got a blank sheet option, or you can choose from any of these nice templates that they've got set up for you. I'm going to go ahead and click on the blank sheet to create a new sheet for us here. And you can see that this looks just like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet that you might see anywhere else using Excel. A lot of the same information transfers over to Sheets. So you can see I'm in column A, row 1, right here, and I've got a few different things highlighted across the top. So of course you've got your undo and your redo buttons right here, your print button, and you can also use paint format if you would like. Change your zoom. So here you can insert some formatting for your cells. So if you're dealing with a lot of numbers for your spreadsheet, you might want to format it as currency or a percent, and you can select how many decimal places you want to see. If you click on more formats here, you can also see you've got scientific format, accounting format, and all of these other formats that you can choose from. So a bunch of different options there depending on what type of sheet you're making. You've also got your text options here, so you can change your font size, bold, italicize, or strike through it, change your text color or your fill color for the box that you're in. So if I change that to black, of course you can see column A, row 1 has changed to black. I'll change it back to transparent just by clicking on reset right there. You've got your border options, so you can do a full border all the way around. You can do only interior borders, horizontal borders, vertical borders, outside borders only, and all these additional options. You can change your border color with this drop down here, or you can change your border style. So you can make it thicker, you can make it a dashed line, a double line, a couple different options there for borders. You can merge cells with this button right here. So let me actually select more than one here. So I've got 6 cells selected. If I wanted to merge them, I could say merge all. If I say merge horizontally, that is going to make row 1, A, B, and C columns all merged together, and then row 2, A, B, and C columns all merged together. And then, of course, merging vertically would make rows 1 and 2 in column A merge, etc. So if I click on merge vertically here, you can see now I've got 3 boxes instead of 6 boxes selected. If I want to undo that, I can click on merge cells, it will merge them all together, and then click it again and it will unmerge, or you can click down here and select unmerge as well in that drop down. You can also change your alignment. You can have your cell information centered to the left or to the right. You can change your vertical alignment. So let's actually go ahead and put some text in here, and we'll make this row a lot bigger. So you can see my text in row A is vertically aligned to be at the bottom. I can change it to be at the top of the box, or I can change it to be centered in the box. So that's your alignment. It's just going to change where your text appears within that box if you've got a bigger sized box that the text doesn't quite fill up. You can also choose to do text wrapping. So I'm going to put in some additional text here. Okay, so you can see now it is going into my columns B and C and just kind of rolling over there. So that's this basic text wrapping option, is the overflow. It just shows up in the next column regardless. I can choose to do text wrapping, so that would make it be a double lined sentence instead of just all going on one line. And you can also choose to clip it. So if I clip it, it's just going to be clipped off where my next column starts, and you won't be able to see the full text in that box unless you click on it, and you can see it appears up here in your little text editing section. You can also choose to do text rotation, so you can make it diagonal text. You can make it vertical text, and then just a couple different options there. Or you can do a custom rotation of your text, so you only want it a little bit slanted or something, so you can do that as well. You can insert links, you can insert comments, just like you could in Google Docs with that video that I did. You can also insert charts. You can create filters, and you can use functions. So filters are really great. So for instance, if you had multiple boxes up here, so let's actually go ahead and say this would be the box for student last name. This can be student first name. And this can be grade level, just to give you an example of something that you might have here. And I'm going to make our row just a little skinnier, and let's take away our rotation on that text. And I'm not really worried about my columns all matching up. I'll just make that a little bit bigger, correct my spelling. All right, so if I wanted to apply filters, let's say this is my top row, and I'm going to have all this information down here, let's say to row 25. So I'm going to click on create a filter, and you can see now I have a little filter in each of my top level columns. So I don't have anything in here yet, but if I started populating this with some grade levels here, just put in some random ones. You can see now if I do my grade level filter that shows up here, I can select to see all of my grade levels, or I can click right here and say clear, and I only want to see 9th grade levels. So if I say I want to filter only 9th grade and click OK, now only my 3 entries that have 9 are showing up. You can clear that filter at any time just by clicking on select all, and then all of my grade levels will show back up. You can also select multiple, so if I only wanted to see 9 and 10, I could select those. When I click OK, I'm only seeing my 9th and 10th graders. So that's an easy way to filter. If you've got colors built in, you can also choose to filter by that color. You can filter by certain conditions that you might have set. So a couple different ways you can filter, and of course you also see up here you can just sort it A to Z or Z to A, depending. So that's a brief overview of our filtering. You can also do functions. So let's just go ahead and pretend like these are numbers that I want to add instead of just grade levels. So if I wanted to total all of the numbers that I put into this column C right here, I can click on my functions and do sum. They've also got average, they can do a count, they can do a maximum or a minimum, and of course you can see here they have tons and tons and tons of additional functions built in that you could potentially use for whatever you are working on. So if you're used to using some advanced functions or formulas in Microsoft Excel, most of those formulas are available here as well, and they even have some custom ones that you can build in. So I've got a spreadsheet that I created that has multiple sheets across the bottom of the spreadsheet, and then I have all of the information from different sheets updating the main sheet. So we've got some functionality built in, so I can update something in one column and it will automatically update it elsewhere in the spreadsheet. And you can even do that across spreadsheets as well. So you can use formulas to pull information from one spreadsheet into a different spreadsheet if you wanted to do that. So all kinds of options there. Some of that is a little bit more advanced, but if you're interested in learning how to use it, definitely check in with me and I will give you that information. So I'm just going to actually click sum here. And so you see now it has put in my formula to add all of the rows from C2 to C25. And when I click off of that, that shows me my sum total here is 105 with all the numbers that I've put in. So those are our basic functions and formulas that we can put in there. Up here across the top, you also see you've got your basic file options. For your drop-down, you've got a share option right at the top, and of course your share button right over here as well. We've also got the ability to create a new spreadsheet or any of these other types of Google documents in here as well. You can open an existing spreadsheet by clicking on the File Open. You can import some information. You can make a copy of your spreadsheet. You can download the spreadsheet, of course, as a Microsoft Excel document or any of these other file types. You can choose to email this as an attachment. So instead of sharing it with somebody that it will show up in their Google Drive, you can just email it as an attachment and then they'd have to save it out themselves. You could make it available offline. Of course, my option is grayed out because I've already got all offline editing turned on for all of my documents, so it just doesn't give me that option anymore. You can see your version history, so if you have changed anything, when I click on version history, you can see it's going to show me a bunch of different things from when I have edited. This drop down will show me some specific. So this is going to get down into each step-by-step move I have made, and I can restore to any previous version if maybe I've messed up. So if I click on my back tab over here at the top left, that just takes me back to my regular spreadsheet over here. Version history is very important and very useful if ever you have maybe a shared document that somebody has gone in and accidentally messed up something. You can go back to that version history and restore an old version. Or maybe you pressed a keyboard command that deleted your whole document on accident and you don't know how you did it. You can also go into that version history and get your document back restored to your last edit that you actually wanted to keep. You can rename your document from here. You can move it to a different folder within your Google Drive. You can move it to the trash can. You can publish it to the web, which means that it's going to be available to search online for anyone who wants to find it. You can email some collaborators. This option's grayed out because I don't have anybody on this document. It's not shared with anybody, so I don't have any collaborators on here. You can also see your document details, your basic spreadsheet settings, and print it from here. Of course, in Edit, you've got your basic editing options, just your copy, paste, those kinds of things. You can delete certain columns and rows from here as well. You can do your find and replace. If you want to change, say you wanted to change Montague entries to say Monty, so you could change all that with your find and replace. And of course, it gives you those keyboard shortcuts as well. So Control C for copy, Control V for paste. All those basic functions are built in right here, so you can see those keyboard shortcuts if you need a reminder. In your view, you can, of course, choose to freeze certain rows. So for instance, if I wanted this first row to freeze, so I could always see my headings as I was scrolling through a long document, I could say freeze, and we want to freeze that one row. So you can see I've got this kind of shadowed line underneath that row now. So if I scroll down in my spreadsheet, you can see that that top line stays visible even though I've scrolled past the section where it would have made it disappear before. So I find freezing very useful if you've got like a lot of information on a spreadsheet and you want to be able to remember which columns are which. You can freeze that top row, so as you're scrolling through your document, you can still see your headings at the top. Other view options, you can choose to see grid lines or not. So of course that's no grid lines. You can see any protected ranges. So that's something that you can put on a Google sheet. You can make a certain portion of your cells or the whole sheet or whatever you need to a protected range, which means that nobody but you or people that you specifically designate would be able to change any of those cells that you've got showing. You can also choose to see your formula bar or not. You can choose to show formulas. You can see any sheets that you might have hidden, which I don't have on here. You can change your zoom, and you can see your document in full screen. Insert, of course, you can insert rows and columns. You can insert certain cells. You can also insert charts, images, drawings, forms, and a few other things here, as you can see, all very basic, like you would insert into any other document. Your formatting is basically going to show you your text formatting, as well as your text wrapping and text rotation options here as well. So a couple other formatting that you can put in here as well. One thing I really like for spreadsheets is the alternating colors. So if you've got a really long spreadsheet and kind of get your eyes confused as you're looking at the information across your columns, the alternating colors setting makes that a little bit better to see. So let's say if I put it on this blue alternating colors, let me move my face a little bit and click done. So you can see any lines that have information now have that alternating color, so I can easily follow that line across my spreadsheet there. You can also put in some data information here. So you can sort your sheet from here. You can turn filtering on and off from here as well. And you've got all of these other options as well. I haven't really gotten into these data settings that much, but if you've got specific questions about something, let me know and I can look into it and help you out for sure if you need me to. You've got some tools here as well, so you can create a form based on the spreadsheet that you've created. So if I created a form from this, it would probably have something like student last name, student first name, and grade level as questions that would be put on the form for people to fill out. So then it would just fill in my sheet as they filled out the form. So that's kind of nice. You can work backwards to create a form from a spreadsheet rather than only being able to create a spreadsheet from a form. You can see you've got your script editor. You can put macros in just like you could for an Excel document. You can do your spell check from here, look at some accessibility settings and some other things right here that you can change. Just like with Google Docs, you can get some add-ons that work specifically with Google Sheets. So you can see I've got my Chromebook Inventory add-on and my Doctopus add-on right here, which are both just specific to what I do. The Chromebook Inventory helps me with the Chromebook tracking, and Doctopus actually lets me do built-in rubrics that connect with Google Forms as well as Google Classroom. So if you've got rubrics going on and you want to learn more about Doctopus and how to do some auto grading on some rubrics, definitely check in with me. I can put together a video on that or help you out with it. And then, of course, you've got your help option here. So you can get Sheets help specifically. You can get training on how to use Sheets, report problems, etc. And then, of course, you've got your keyboard shortcuts built in here as well. So you can see all your keyboard shortcuts. Up here as well, of course, if you click in the title, you can change the document title. So this is a test sheet. And right now it's just saved into my drive, which you can see right there when I click on that title. If I click off the title, I've also got the option to move this document to a different location within my file structure. You can also click on this little star to make this an important document, and it will show up in your starred documents in your drive. So very, very basic, very much like Microsoft Excel, excuse me. Pretty easy to use, but if you need help with it, of course, let me know. And of course, you've got your big share button up here as well. So again, if you start typing in names, say I want to share this with my husband, he will pop up right there and I can share it with him. I can give him editing rights, commenting rights, or viewing rights on this as well, and add a personalized note. Of course, my notify people box is going to ask if I want to send him an email notification that I've shared this with him. If you click on advanced down here, you can of course see some additional options of sending a copy to yourself of what you are sharing. You can also prevent editors from changing access and adding new people to this if you don't want them to be able to see it. And you can disable options to download, print, and copy for people designated as commenters and viewers on your sheet. So those might be useful if you've got something really private that you don't want anyone else to see. And up here at the top, you can also see that this document is set as private, only I have access. If I click change right here, it's going to show me all of these options that I can change to share this document with a link. So if I turn link sharing on, I can give it anyone at Cherokee County Public Schools has access to this document with the link, but they would need that link in order to access. If you just do that general on, the Cherokee County Public Schools employees can find it and access it regardless of if they have the link. If I just do general link sharing here, anyone who has the link can access it. Nobody would need to sign in to be able to see that document as long as they had that link. And then public on the web here, the top option would be anyone on the internet can find and access the document regardless of whether or not they had the link. So it just depends on what you're doing with the document, how you want to create that. I'm just going to say off. I want to be able to only designate specific people that I share this document with. When I click save, it's going to take me back to my main page here, and I can choose to invite my husband to this document or not. I'm just going to cancel out of it and click done. So that is your basic overview of Google Sheets. There are some things that can be complicated with Google Sheets, just like in Excel. I would consider myself an advanced Excel user, so a lot of those things are familiar to me as far as Google Sheets go as well. So if you're having any problems with your sheets, maybe it's doing something that you don't think it should be doing, or you can't figure out how to get in a formula or something that you need in there, just let me know and I would be happy to help you out. Hopefully this helped you out. And as always, let me know if you've got any questions, comments, concerns, and get in touch if you need specific guidance. And I hope to see you on the next video.